Hi everyone, I want to share with you some new Photoshop features, especially for these May updates. Okay, so one of the most interesting features that I want to share with you is this particular feature called the Remove tool, which is actually located here, just right below the spot healing brush. So probably you might be actually using Photoshop to remove some existing spots or maybe some existing objects. So probably you have used things like spot healing brush, or even many of you use something called the clone stamp tool. Now, I'm going to share with you that this will literally blow your mind away, because this remove tool allows me to remove things that is so convincing that you don't even know that object is there in the first place. Okay, so first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer since it's background. As always, I always discuss with my students that once you create a new layer, whatever you do, you're just basically changing the new layer, not changing the background at all. Now, since you have already done that, you have to ensure that this must be selected sample all layers, because at the end of the day, what you are doing is that you are actually sampling the background layer and painting on the top layer itself. And I'm just going to actually remove the object after each time I paint. So I'm going to just check these two on here. The final thing that you need to do is you zoom into the area that you want to remove. You can see what I want to do is I want to remove all these people from this entire image here. Is it going to be a huge endeavor? No, not really. I'll show you. So what I do is I'm going to increase the size of brush, like what I mentioned to you in the class, that you have two square brackets. The right square bracket to increase, the left square bracket to decrease. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just paint it away like so, and watch the magic. You can see that it's gone. Amazing, right? Okay, so I can continue on painting like so. Okay, making sure at the end of the day, when you paint, the area you paint must be larger than the object that you want to remove. And when it does that, it goes to the nearby surrounding pixels and just paint it back again. Fantastic. So make sure that you have the nearby pixels that shows me things like, like sand, or for example, waters or grasses. Okay, so I'm just going to do a very quick one to remove all of them. So since it's going to take a bit of time, I'm just going to actually switch this off to remove after each stroke. So which means that what I do is that I'll continue on painting, and it does not need to every time generate. You notice that as I'm painting, it just continue on to just allows me to paint. Okay, so just give me a few seconds to just finish this off. Okay, let's see whether does it work or not. So this time I'm going to click on the tick to make sure that everything is done in one mass cohort. Fantastic. Okay, you can see that almost you don't see anyone literally standing there. That is so fantastic. And that's the power of using the AI tool to actually remove. So just want to share with you, please update. You have not done that already. When you update for the May update itself, you have this new remove tool. Now, sometimes you might want to just finish off just a bit more. You just continue on and highlight if there's any shadows that's still showing. If there's anyone still showing anything that is there, just continue on painting until you see that everything will be slowly or literally removed. Are we clear? Okay, so this is one feature that you might want to consider using that to remove an object. Now, the next new feature that for this May updates have is something called the gradient tool. Now, I want to share with you is this. You can see there are two layers. One is called the red knocker, and one is the background layer. Now, what I want to do is I want to do it in such a way that I'll see parts of the red knocker and parts of the incense at the bottom layer. And in order for that to do that, I mentioned within the class is to create something called a layer mask to do that. And straight away, it shows me a white color, and white color represents showing. So that explains the red knocker showing here. So what I need to do is I just need to actually apply something called the gradient. Now, this is not a new feature. All along, Photoshop has a gradient. But just want to share with you is this. Right now, as I drag this gradient of having a black and white color here, like so, and as I drag maybe from the left to right, just make it simple here, you can see that right now you have a live preview. So you can see there's a horizontal bar. This represents the amount of white and black color. So you can see from here that there is actually the left is on the left white color, and on the right you see that it's actually a black color. So what it means is that white represents showing, so you are showing the door knocker on the left hand side, and you are hiding the door knocker. You're revealing more of the bottom layer, that is the incense here. Now, so you can actually have a live preview to show more of a door knocker or maybe less of a door knocker. That is so fantastic. This is a new feature where now you have a live preview to see more or less of an object. And of course, you can actually have more. You can also play around with the different gradient types that's available. So in this case, this is actually a circular gradient. And just to show you, so you can actually decrease the circle or maybe increase the circle, and maybe you have more of an object or less of an object. That is so fantastic. You can see from here, this gives me a lot of a creative playground for me to show more or less of an object. That's so fantastic, right? Okay, so we have this one. Gradient is not new again, I mentioned to you, but the ability to have a live preview is new. Now, next feature that I want to share with you is the contextual menu here. So you notice that you have this, basically this context menu. If you update it for the May updates, and it's actually found inside here. If you go to the window menu, you can see that this contextual taskbar is actually being shown here, like so. Okay, so make sure that this is selected, because if you deselect, you won't see that anymore. So with that, it tells you that whatever things that I've selected, it will show me according to things that I use often. Like for example, In this case, it tells you, do you want to select this object? Well, if you think about this, this is a top layer called the model. If I hide this top layer, well, I have a bottom layer that shows me an orange pixelated background. Okay, so what I want to do is this. What I want to do is I want this lady to be on the orange pixelated background, essentially removing all these distracting beige and light blue color wall here. Okay, so she will be on the orange background. So I have this particular feature in this contextual menu that tells me, hey, do you want to remove the background? Yes, of course I want. So all I need to do is just click on remove background, give it a few seconds. What it does is that it removes the distracting background. And what it does is that it shows me only the person. This is what I want. It auto magically allows me to remove things that I do not want. So having the contextual background kind of like, it tells me what are things that I want to do with it. It's a kind of assistant. It's a very interesting assistant that helps me with that. And continue on with that idea. The final step I'll show you this. Now, this is a very nice picture that I have here. But what I want to do is I want this picture maybe to convert it to maybe more of a warm color or maybe even a grayscale black and white color here. So using the same contextual background that I have here, I can actually click this little icon here. This little rather there's actually a little adjustment layer here, but as I click this on, so it tells me that I have something called the adjustment presets here. So for this adjustment presets, it tells me, okay, what do I want? Do you want to have a color pop-up? So as I move the mouse over, you notice that it gives me a few seconds to preview what I ought to see. Do you want a negative? Do you want to have a false process? So it gives me a preview for that. That is so fantastic here. So I can actually have the portrait. Do I want to have a sunshine effect, a warm color? Do I want to have a moody blue color? So that's pretty interesting. So what we'll do is maybe I just want to have a black and white. So as I click this on, and immediately what you see is straight away layers will be being created for me. Okay, so I can see that I have a new layer here. So that is before and that is after. But maybe at the end of the day, since maybe you still want to have a bit of color, not just everything black and white, so you can actually go to the opacity and maybe lower down the opacity to bring forth that color, but in a more faded effect here. So I just want to share with you, these are things that you can actually implement. And very interesting, you have something called adjustment presets, where you don't need to think of having an S-shaped curve, increasing the brightness, changing the contrast, all these things. You just need to click on and straight away you just basically manipulate all these layers. Okay, I do hope that at the end of the day, you find this short video useful for you, especially if you're going to upgrade your Photoshop. Okay, till then, I see you again. Bye-bye.